I don't even know who Cluely is anymore. Windsurf has officially taken the cake as the worst startup of 2025. Let's talk about it. This is still breaking news. There's a lot to figure out, but Windsurf has backed out of an acquisition with OpenAI and is doing what you would effectively call a reverse acqui-hire with Google that is leaving all of the early employees, most of the employees in general, high and dry. The exact terms still haven't been divulged. We're still seeing what's happening live, but what it looks like is happening is that Google is paying $2.4 billion dollars. They're taking the C-level and the top 30 AI researchers, engineers. Those are going to become Google employees. The Windsurf vested stocks are getting some amount of cash, which is undisclosed, which probably means it's nothing or close to nothing. Anybody who is invested gets absolutely nothing. And what will then happen is those people who are left will be running Windsurf, fulfilling whatever liabilities, whatever enterprise contracts Windsurf still has, and that's it. That's the business. If this is true, there's only one way that this is not a massive violation of just like unwritten rules of venture capital, but also like high level fiduciary responsibility as well. The duty that the board of directors, that the CEO has to every class of shareholder for the company. The only way that this is even somewhat above water is if Windsurf itself is failing, right? And OpenAI backed out of a deal. Google then approached them and said, hey, we don't care at all about your product. We don't care about your enterprise clients. We don't want any type of antitrust lawsuit. We don't even want to go through that process. We want your CEO. We want your top 30 people because obviously you guys are good at AI. You know how to grow product, but we don't really care about the rest of it. That's the only way that this is an absolute FU to the entire employee set, to everyone who has ever worked at Windsurf. The alternative is really simple. The CEO, the board got greedy, and they are going to just take what value they can get out of the company and run. That would be a big problem. I don't really think that's the case though, because this is setting up to be a massive lawsuit. If Windsurf was valuable, then they just absolutely effed over the entire employee base. That will cause incredibly big problems. Like they will have to pay that out. Google will have to pay that out. It will be a massive PR issue for Google too, as well as just the Windsurf CEO. He's never going to work in Silicon Valley again. That's why this just doesn't seem that realistic to me, especially when you consider the board here, GC, Kleiner, they're all pretty experienced VCs. They know better than to do something like this because it is very taboo. Either way, this is the craziest headline in Silicon Valley. If they are effing over the early employees, it is probably the single worst thing that I've ever seen in my career. And yeah, I hope that it works out for everybody involved.